Today, I'm honored to introduce Steve Ostafichuk, co-founder and project manager, and Lyudmila Datsenko, head of advocacy and public engagement for the DETI project. For the moment our team learned about this initiative, we found it deeply compelling and truly worthy of support. The project's mission: to amplify the voices of Ukrainian children affected by the war and to demand justice. We firmly believe that every life holds immense value and worth fighting for. In times of great injustice, efforts like DETI reminds us of power of collective action, storytelling, and advocacy. I appreciate Steve and Lyudmila for taking the time to share their insights with us. I invite you to watch the video to see how our conversation unfolded. A few days ago, I learned about that project, DETI. What you can say about it?
That is a project of добровільних українців-однодумців в Canada. It was based on a song that Leo Volonsky had written and sung that was sent to me, and immediately realized the potential of a major project in around children, DITA. And so we have partners who are working on this project. Ludmila's doing all the social media. Several people from the United States and Canada. So it all started because of a song. And if you've heard the song, if you are not moved by that song and the whole theme of that song, then you're either a sociopath or a Russian. So forgive my sense of humor. And
where are you? Daddy, Daddy, Tanyu, Daddy, Daddy,
So I do a lot of work, volunteer work with various Ukrainian organizations, both humanitarian and military and youth groups, and done some projects with the Ukrainian Catholic Church from my parish in Oshawa. My background is projects, starting projects, multiple projects simultaneously. So this is one of about 5 Ukrainian projects that I have on the go.
Yeah, but how come you live in Canada and you take part of those projects, humanitarian projects about Ukraine?
Well, first of all, one of my projects is a book that I'm writing on intergenerational PTSD trauma. My father was a doctor who came to Canada as a bush doctor for Indian affairs for our First Nations. So my uncle at the age of 19 in 1941 was arrested with 15 other people and interrogated, Nakado Smith, and was killed by the NKVD. So there's one direct family. My father was very actively involved with the Ukrainian Hromada, and but never spoke of his family situation. That's one of the themes of the book. A cousin of mine was killed by the NKVD in 1950, and it goes on and on. And a family member just was killed at the hands of the Russians 2 months ago. So my family history with Russia goes back more than 100 years.
Yeah, I see. So as I understand, the beginning of that full-scale invasion was not an easy day for you.
No.
Do you have any relatives there in Ukraine?
Um, my dad's immediate family, they're all gone. Most of them did not survive World War II. My father came with my grandparents came to Canada as war refugees. My brother was born stateless.
Mm, okay. So you are co-founder of that project.
Yes.
Who is another co-founder of that project?
Leo Wolansky, he's a medical professional. He was the head of the Ukrainian Medical Associations of the United States, UMANA. He actually wrote the song.
At 10 o'clock on March 16th, the sky was blue.
A mother went outside
Lida Huka
to get
Lada
her children
is American Canadian. She's the one who had sent it to me. Alexei is our creative visual developer. He actually taught software and programming, audiovisual at the college level. Ludmila does our social media. So basically, there's just 5 of us.
And how long does that project exist already?
It's a year and a half.
Year and a half. So what you can say as a result of that project, what you see, how it impacts the world around you, what the feedback?
Well, the first was the first step upon hearing the song. It became a multifaceted project, and it's growing in many different areas, and it's all growing organically, and everything that we're doing is at the grassroots level. So the very first thing was to commemorate the bombing of the Mariupol theater. So we put our project and our team together for the first anniversary which was last year. And from there, we've developed into a bunch of different areas. On our website, if you've seen the website, we have a section there for documentaries, which we have partnered with Kyiv Independent and a bunch of other organizations. So we are actually acting as an aggregator of information in regards to children. We are not selling anything. We have 4 charities that we support. And if people want to make a donation, they could pick the charity and it goes directly to their PayPal. And so we're not acting as a middleman. So we also have another part for activities. And so we're doing a lot of work with schools. So we've been doing things like postcards written by children that have been sent to the front. That's one initiative. We are developing educational content in regards to the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Children, which Russia was a signatory. For the Toronto Catholic and public school boards, there's sections in educational curriculum where we'll be teaching them about human rights for children based on what's happening in Ukraine. We do have some other music initiatives. One of the 4 charities is a telemedicine, which we support. I'm also on a volunteer board of directors. And we support about 1,000 Ukrainian buzhinchi a month. And we have free medical consultations, psychological consultations for them. And our Ukrainian doctors, they're all vetted. They're all Ukrainian licensed. They get paid by the charity. Now that has actually moved into another part of the project, which is it's not all on the website. One of our partners is an organization called Sonyashniki. So they actually do winter and summer camps for children who've lost a parent in the war, or both parents.
So that's here or in Ukraine, that project?
That's in Ukraine.
In Ukraine.
And now being able to develop, which will be launched soon, a virtual tabir, a virtual camp. So when the kids go to a camp for whatever activities, they're there for a short period of time and then they go back home. But now we have a virtual camp where the kids who go to that physical camp will be able to stay in touch with their fellow campers, as well as the psychologists and the camp leadership on a 24/7 perpetual basis. So Tabi, it'll go from being a physical camp to one that's a virtual camp that they can stay in touch with each other.
It's a lot of work to do, and that's very hard work to work with children who lost parents, who suffering from loss of their homes and everything. How you deal with all that?
Not very well. And that's why I'm motivated to do projects like this. Same with Ludmila, same with Leo, and with Alexei. We can't do everything for everybody, so we partner with people. And so we have people who actually run these projects. We'll either raise money for them or raise awareness. So everything that we're doing is to raise awareness of children.
Mhm. Tell me, whatever you just explained, that sounds like a lot of work. So it takes a lot of your time, or how you delegate different tasks? How does it work?
My career has been international focused for 40 years. I'm an international engineering recruiter in new technologies. So everything I do is projects. And the projects can be very scientific, for example, Blackberries. They did a lot of work with starting up BlackBerry with engineers and software developers. That's years before they went public. So that's the nature of what I do. I typically, well, some people would say I have ADHD, and I tend to have multiple projects on the go. So I'm very good at carving out time for specific projects. But typically I have 3 or 4 projects on the go, including my job as an international recruiter.
Okay, I see. So, and I would like to ask Ludmila, how did you found that team? How did you join that team?
Well, that's quite a short story. I saw a message on social media from Steve that they're looking for someone who can help him and the project with the strategy and tactics on how to promote the project through the different medias. And I called him, so we talked, and I guess we liked each other. I definitely liked Steve. Yeah, now I'm honored to be part of the project as a head of advocacy and public engagement.
On your opinion, how big is that project? How many people know, and how many people give you feedback on what's going on with project?
We're very thankful for Українська хвиля for telling the world about us, because the project is very young. It's only a few years old, and slowly but surely we're growing. Our engagement on Facebook, for instance, reaches 300,000 people at one point. So yes, we need more people to talk about it. We need more people to remember about it, and we have to amplify the voices of those who cannot speak for themselves. And we're talking about children. It's those who are killed and those who are kidnapped by Russians at the moment.
Okay. Steve, what the big organizations or whoever can support you in this project?
We have basically been, when the project started, I've been responsible for raising funds. So we've, our entire budget to date has only been $60,000. And we're actually doing some major fundraising through private organizations as we speak. I can't really mention too much because I'm not sure what our success will be. So we're growing from several major sponsors. One of them is Ukrainska Research Institute, which is a nonprofit organization that publishes books, and BCU, Badushny's Credit Union Foundation, BCU Foundation. My foundation that I'm a chair of is a trust from where it's not my foundation, it's Marіупольського Fund, which was a community center that was sold, and the funds were put into a foundation that we donate to Ukrainian causes, humanitarian and education. We've donated $1.2 million in the last 6 years for Ukrainian-specific projects. Canada-Ukraine Foundation, CUF, which is the largest organization representing Українські справи. They are a major financial sponsor of us. They've also were a sponsor financially for the telemedicine one, and hospital in the clouds. And if you go onto the website, you'll see who our sponsors are. And I'm actually have been doing some funding requests for non-traditional sources of funding, and it's all based on children. If we're successful on the funding for the educational curriculum, that'll allow us to do human rights education for Ukrainian language schools, but also for public schools and Catholic schools. So I'm in the process of preliminary discussions with major organizations that write curriculum for schools. And we have someone who's doing that for us now, that's their faculty. And we're looking to partner with other organizations. And previously, I was involved with a major educational project for Holodomor. So I've got to understand exactly the difficulties and the complexities of trying to get education content into schools. And so what I've learned the hard way from that previous experience, making sure we're not doing it the hard way a second time.
Okay.
So that'll be for educational content for both the school level, but also for teachers and principals to opt in. And there's a whole suite of education, including activities and music and educational films that we're putting together. It's a very large project, but it's not on the website because it's still under development. As things become more and more together, it'll be put onto the website.
I see. Okay, but how do you see a role of Ukrainian diaspora here in Canada helping in those projects, maybe? How we can get involved?
Well, first of all, with the schools, I started off with the rічниці in Toronto. There's in Toronto, I'm from Oshawa, so the immediate Toronto area, we have 8 Ukrainian heritage schools, Saturday schools, all actively engaged. So we've done everything from postcards and activities to if you see the video, you'll see detail in the school playground. That's Yuri Lipa. That's a Ukrainian heritage school that I graduated at in 1976. And so we have some very active Ukrainian schools, Ukrainian leaders, different organizations, and everybody does their part. And some people have their own charities and everything. I'm not funding or channeling money from one organization to the next. All this is about awareness and getting the word out about children, and spreading it virtually or doing activities or in school. It's all up to them.
Mm-hmm. As I know, you had an opportunity to talk to such a public figure and very well-known figure as Timothy Snyder, Mykola Kuleba, Alexandra Matviichuk. What you can say about their engagements in all what you do?
Well, first of all, what we do is just a very small part of what they do. The one universal thing that I will say about each person that is an absolute, and that is that they are very principled, very dedicated, and very true to their beliefs. Their projects might be a little different, or they're like Snyder is very much a historian, but he's engaged. This is not a job for anybody. This is a calling. So that the universality is the fact that it's a calling.
I see. And you know what? I listened a lot to whatever Timothy Snyder says and a lot about Ukrainian history that most of us discover for ourselves like something new, especially being raised in the Soviet Union. On your opinion, how we could make some influence on Canadian society to get them understand that we are not Russia? What will be the main message, you know, the one that goes to the core?
The main message from my point of view in regards to Ukraine and Ukrainians is that we are freedom-loving, individual, and we're true to ourselves and true to our nation. Um, Everybody knows where Ukraine is now, and everybody knows what a Ukrainian is. Everybody knows that it's a David and Goliath fight. With all this disinformation that's out there, everyone has their own rabbit holes to go through, but nobody can deny the fact that we exist. No matter how much Putin says Ukraine does not exist, Ukrainians don't exist, that it's not a culture. The whole world knows that he's lying through his teeth. And we've survived the Tatars, we survived the Mongols, we survived the Holodomor, we survived Stalin, we survived the Soviet Unions, we will survive this. Sooner or later, Putin will die. Sooner or later, his regime will die, and Ukraine will still be there. It is a very terrible and a very nasty war, but the entire country is not in flames, right? So people have to understand how big Ukraine is in the grand scheme of things. We were the best kept secret prior to the fall of the Soviet Union because nobody knew what a Ukrainian was because of the Iron Curtain. Now we could be such a substantial member of the EU and the European community. One thing for sure, Ukraine will never turn east.
Yeah, that seems like that now.
Yeah.
Because I have a niece that lives in Kiev, and now most of the Ukrainian young people speak Ukrainian, English, and some other third language, not Russian though.
Yeah.
And
My,
yeah.
my father was a doctor. He was still in medical school, so he was supporting the UPA and as a medical doctor, as a humanitarian. My uncle was, as I said, executed by the NKVD. My grandparents ended up in Germany. But they came to Canada because of the war. I'm born here. I've never been to Ukraine. My sister has just gone to Ukraine. She's in Kyiv to teach. So my generation is going back to Ukraine because of the war. My dad and my grandparents came to Canada because of the war.
Yeah, so that's the circle. And you know what I know that you have 4 dogs, do you?
Actually, 6.
How come? Like in a few days you got 2 more.
No. Well, I have my dog. He's sleeping right here, right now. He's a great he's an American boxer, British Bulldog cross. My stepdaughter has a pug, which gets under your feet. My partner deals with a greyhound rescue. So we have 4 dogs. So she's got 4 plus 1 plus 1. 6.
Okay, I see. I have just 1. At one moment I had 3, but that's too many for me.
I don't have kids. You still have to pick up their poop. So
So that's a little relaxing time with dogs after doing all that hard work.
I spent 5 years as a volunteer at a Ukrainian youth camp as a property manager. During COVID, I was on site to rebuild an Olympic-sized pool, a kaplitcha, bunch of buildings and the like. I grew up on the farm as a kid. So my dog and myself during COVID had 96 acres. 6 turkeys, ended up being 20 turkeys by year 2. Herd of deer eating apples in the backyard. Then I moved to the city.
Just you said, so my head spins of all the amount of that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so the dogs are great. They love you and they trust you completely, right? Which you can't get with human beings.
Exactly.
And I would step in front of a gun or step in front of a bus to protect my dog.
Mhm.
And I would do the same for Ukraine now.
We see that.
yeah.
So, guys, whoever could tell me what that will be the flash mob that you are getting ready for now.
Okay, Ludmila, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I'll tell as a owner of only one dog, I can tell you about the flash mob. So this year flash mob is designed to engage people globally, to commemorate the children that brutally were killed by Russian forces. Also, we need to remind the world about 20,000 plus Ukrainian children who have been stolen and illegally taken to Russia. This year, we are mobilizing Ukrainian schools and organizations not only in Canada and the United States, but also in other countries of the world like Australia, Africa, multiple European countries like France, Germany, Poland, UK, others. We invite everyone to participate in the flash mob. We still have a few days before March 16th, which is the actual date of the bombing. And for those who see this program, there are simple 6 steps to take in order to participate in the flash mob. Step number 1, you need to form the group. You can gather your friends, family, or colleagues. Step number 2, you have to create the message. At certain location, you have to write the word "дeti," which is in Ukrainian, "where are you?" or "діти," which is Ukrainian children, or "дети," which is Russian for kids. That's exactly the word which was written in front of the Mariupol theater.
Mhm.
Step number 3, you have to photograph or record your formation clearly. It can be done in chalk and lights, any creative material that group will decide to use, or it can be done digitally if you would like to. Step number 4, you should share your message with us and with the world. You can post it on your social media platforms with hashtags where are you, or the project, or stand with Ukraine. And the last but not the least, please submit your work. You can email your photos or videos to the email address flashmob@thattheproject.org. Well, obviously, it would be a good idea to visit our website, to share this initiative with your network, to encourage your community, school, or organization to participate, to join us in making sure the world does not forget these crimes, and please follow the project on social media. Thank you.
Бо малята ці янголи в небі, їм зуватись зовсім не треба.
Вже на крилах увесь полетіло.
Ця війна їх жорстоко убила.
This project doesn't end on the anniversary date. This project is going on and on and on because there's so much happening, so much effect on children and their families and everything. It's a universal project, and there's no end to it. So if people have an activity or they don't have it done for the anniversary dates, send it whenever you get the opportunity to send it in, because we have many ongoing initiatives developing for the awareness of children and Ukrainian children.
On March 16, 2022, nearly 1,000 Ukrainians, many mothers and children, took shelter in the Mariupol Drama Theater. The word "дети," children, was written in giant letters on the pavement, a desperate plea for mercy. It was large enough to be seen from the sky. The Russians bombed it anyway. 2 massive explosions, up to 600 innocent lives were wiped out in an instant. March 16 is not just a date. It is an open wound, a symbol of everything we have lost. We cannot bring them back, but we can make sure the world doesn't forget.
You hear the victim's desperate cry.